that we told them what is happening to make sure it's all happening.
Yes. Oh, you're on now.
Oh. My computer said no. The strong signal.
Yeah, mine did the same, but then I wasn't logged into I was logged into Sandwich Guild Hall, but not Sandwich Guild Hall guest,
Right.
which, Simon logged into, and then I got onto it as well.
We look at whatever language is there. It's weird, isn't it?
Very strange.
We shall I do that?
No, it's right. I've got it. I loaded it. I've recorded it up here. It doesn't make
Yeah,
a thing.
It's all right, yeah, Tom Canson on it.
Let's go for it. Here we are. Let's see if that's it. No, that's not it. I've better. Let's see.
Are you going through Nikki's stuff now?
Just 36. Bear with me. Is that you? No. Is that you?
Yes. Oh, this doesn't.
It has completely gone. Yeah. No, I'm not happy with that at all. Right, okay then, apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chair. We have apologies from the Mayor, Councillor Paul Carter, for travel commitments.
Thank you very much. Right, if we can launch into declarations of interest, to receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of businesses to be transacted on the agenda. Anything? Nobody? No? Then we can move on from that. Minutes, to receive and approve the minutes of the Knoxville Nature Reserve Committee held on the 3rd June 2024, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda. Any comments on the minutes? Are we happy with that? Proposed? Second. And seconded, Councillor Morehouse. And number 4.
Is everyone?
Oh, is everyone in
I'm
agreement?
abstaining, but only because I wasn't present.
One abstention. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.
Got to get it right. And public participation, I don't see any public, I will read it out though. A 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect to the business on the agenda. Individual representations shall not exceed 5 minutes. I don't see anybody.
No requests.
No requests. I do appreciate you've got Christina here as a member of the public. And
Chair, we skip item 4.
co-option. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, yes.
Yes, co-option. Members to receive a report from the town clerk with the recommendation that 2 further individuals are co-opted to the Knoxville Nature Reserve Committee. So, town clerk,
Thank you very much. So, thank you very much to Ken, who did the research on this. So this is just to update you all on proposed recommendations from the warden, Ken, and co-opted members to the committee. Following the committee meeting in June, the warden approached the individuals who were previously co-opted members to ascertain if still interested.
we just hang on until the future members have passed.
Thank you, Councillor Ripley. So following the committee meeting in June, the warden, Ken, approached individuals who were previously co-opted members to ascertain if they were interested to be co-opted again and join the committee. Of those approached, Dr. Andrew, apologies, I don't know if I can pronounce his name.
Lipchinsky.
Thank you, Lipchinsky, has expressed an interest to be co-opted. The second individual that warden Ken has approached is a lady called Mrs. D. Govan, and she has not been co-opted before, but has a keen interest in the Knoxville Nature Reserve. So the committee are asked to receive the report and to seek your agreement that these 2 proposed options are agreed. Thank you.
Councillor Pennington.
Thank you. Maybe you could explain the people's background and why you thought they were appropriate.
Yeah.
Dr. Andrew Lipchinsky, he was involved
He used to work at Pfizer's. He was involved in the establishment of the nature reserve, working from his base at Pfizer's from the mid-1990s. And he served on the management committee almost continuously since 1995. He's also, in his time, been chair of the Further Observatory at South for a number of years. And he has a wealth of knowledge and background about the reserve and about wildlife in this area and conservation. The other person, Dee Govan, she's comparatively recent. She lives on the housing development on the other side of the toll bridge, the old toll bridge. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, that's what it is. And so Monkswell is her local patch, and she walks around there at least once every week and sends in records not only of the wildlife she observes, but also she's very good at picking up on other issues. She always reports on any incidents or things that she's seen. In particular, she's gathered information about this individual who persists in climbing over the fence from the marina. And has managed to get some photographs of said person as well.
If I can comment on Dee Govan, I do know her personally, and we'd certainly support her on a personal level. Councillor Moorhouse?
Dr. Lachenzi was on the committee when I first joined the Monkswell Nature Reserve Committee back in 2007. So it's entirely appropriate.
I think it only come up when we stopped having the meetings during COVID.
Yeah,
That's right.
So it's one of the original members. A lot of experience.
And presumably this is governors, so she would be.
Yes, she's very keen to become a member of this.
Somebody proposed?
Yeah.
And second. And we vote on this, please? Yes, I think that is unanimous. Yes, thank you very much. Sorry, I was number 4. So steaming ahead. Right, number 6. Oh, number 5, we've done.
That's really
Okay. Number 6, financial position for Monkswell Nature Reserve. Members to receive a report from the RFO that details the current financial position, including earmarked reserves for Monkswell Nature Reserve. Sort of pending. So, shall I read out on behalf of the?
I mean, if you want me to, I'm happy to.
No, I'm so just see which bits are relevant to read out. So start of the year, this is Monkswell Nature Reserve income and expenditure from the 1st of the 4th, 24 to the 31st of the 8th. So the Monkswell Nature Reserve, if I can just go through some, just very briefly, and I'll pass this round. Rural Payments Agency grant from RPA, Rural Payments Agency, £38,560. Rural Payments Agency payment for Monkswell Nature Reserve, that's £1,441.73. So that's a total of £40,001.73. So the start of the year, the value £52,811.40. Where does that work there? Invoice.
That's the start of the year, then that's
Yes.
listing
The income.
and then the payment expenditure.
Right.
Yeah, so the balance of 31st of August is 91.
Oh, right, it's all added together.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm well off here. Right, Monkswell Nature Reserve, this is further information, details, this is warden fees, and a series of 5 months showing £208.33p, making a total of £1,041.65.
We don't really know that, that's confidential.
Oh,
Not the salary, it's only confidential.
Yeah, I think,
Uncover it, but.
I think because it's a contract payment, Ken's not directly involved.
No.
But I'll take
You'll be
your
very
point.
careful.
I'll take your point.
no, apologies, Ken, if this was supposed to happen.
We'll do it as a lump payment.
Yes.
Yeah.
next time, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so if we can note for the next meeting that only the income from the Rural Payments Agency and others,
And the group's expenditure.
the grouped expenditure
Yeah.
as a group, without identifying
Yeah.
what the expenditure is, we have to
I mean, we
identify
can,
something.
we do, so I think if we put it together as one bulk payment, that
Yes.
way, yeah, I think that would be a little bit more, yeah.
Right.
But I'll talk to our about that one.
Yes, if you could,
I'll
just
take
to
that one.
clarify what it is and what it should be. The balance overall, £91,000, well, £91,771.48. But I will just pass this round.
I'll make it see it online.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. So that is, receive the report, please.
And can we receive this, can we have a proposal, please? And second then, so proposed Mark, seconded, and quote all this. I think it's unanimous again. Thank you. Racing through this. Now, report from Monkswell Nature Reserve Wardens, number 7. Members to receive a report from the Monkswell Nature Reserve Warden that spans the period from late June 2024 to mid-September 2024. Members are invited to receive the report, and over to you.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah.
Yes.
There may be one or two things that have happened which the committee needs to be aware of since I sent this in a few days ago. In fact, the first one, the first main item, B1, the most essential management on a month-by-month basis is controlling the water level in the main part of the reserve. And that is done by the operation of a sluice, which the council had installed a few years ago. I've noticed within the last week that sluice is leaking rather seriously. It's not leaking through the concrete. The water, the pressure of the water behind the sluice has, I think, undermined it on one side. And so water is now draining off the reserve. And I went out there yesterday, against all my better judgment. I happen to have some sandbags at home. So I took the empty sandbags out and filled them up with clay from the reserve and stuck them in the hole. But it made some difference. But I think it's going to need a professional contractor to get out there to, because I think that the whole clay embankment that the sluice sits in is going to need digging out.
Is that our sluice, Ken?
Yes, that's our sluice. I wouldn't go anywhere near the environment agency's sluice.
Okay.
No, this is our sluice that sits in the ditch.
Okay.
But without it operating efficiently, because it controls all of the ditches and the scrape, the water level over the main part of the reserve, if that isn't working properly, then the water will just drain away.
Okay.
So it does need, it did happen before. I mean, that sluice was put in about 7, 8 years ago, maybe, no, not so long ago, 5, 6 years ago. And it actually, the same thing happened within a couple of years, and we had to get the original installers to come back. So we might try them again, or get a local person to do it.
Thank you. I'll liaise with the property manager about that and we'll contact you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Just a comment, is that part of any flood remediation or alleviation?
No, it's nothing to do with the monks, with the riverbank, or the monks, or nothing to do with the environment agency.
It's anything on site on within the reserve.
Yes, I know.
It seems to be become quite regularly now, doesn't it? You know, for 8 years. Does it need like a backup one, you know, an emergency one you can back it up to?
Well, no, obviously that is one of the issues. There's only one
You've already got an issue,
that controls all of the area,
Yeah.
the main area.
Yeah, so I do you think you might need an extra?
I have said in the past, or that at some stage, it would be a very useful thing to be able to have another sluice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in order to get at the source of the problem on this one, it might mean draining the entire reserve.
Yeah.
In other words, opening the whole sluice up there and all the water drain out, so that the workmen, the workforce can get in and find the source of the problem. Because I think what's happening is that the water pressure is undermining the concrete that make up the sluice itself.
Thank you.
Councillor Pennington.
I was just wondering if you could recall how much the cost was to originally install the sluice and how much to repair it.
The original sluice was installed, I think, from memory, it was about £11,000. I've got it on file somewhere, but not with me.
Trouble is that the whole land there is very soft, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's only got clay and silt and that's it.
It is a river clay, the pressure is obviously just.
Yeah.
And that in fact is with the water level not being as high as I mean, winter time, you normally have the water level even higher.
Yeah.
So this has happened with the water level at sort of 2/3.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry,
No,
Councillor.
what I was going to say was if it needs doing, regardless of the cost, it has to be done. doesn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
It's not,
Funds.
it is, well, in emergency is slightly overstating it, but it does mean that the main management tool that we have, control the water level, is not operating properly. And in fact, of course, it will get worse.
Yeah.
Once the water flow starts to work its way through, I think that it would be quite reasonable to think the whole embankment might go.
Thank you.
Councillor Warren.
Can I suggest it's not an emergency, but it is a critical priority?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So if I can pick up the some of the other points, I'm not going to go through this completely low by low.
Second point, yes.
I would like to point out item B3 though, which has already been touched on under finances. We actually got a grant for the scrape and the other ditch clearance work that was done last year, and the Rural Payments Agency paid in full. They paid us about, shall we say, a large amount of money more than the work actually cost, because they have a standard rate per operation, per length of ditch cleared, per area of scrape excavated, and we got the work done for a good deal less than the standard rate. And wonderfully, in this day and age, the RPA have paid the full rate, and so we made money on that, which of course has gone into the kitty of the future.
Just for the sake of the Rural Payments Agency, can that be regarded as fixing the sluice? So that there's a balance that if the Rural Payments Agency.
Yes, well, yeah, I mean the money is what we do with the balance of what the committee does with the money. It's in this, it's already in the account. So it may be that might be where it actually ends up going, paying for the repair of this sluice.
Thank you.
Well, as will be seen later on the agenda, we're in the process of getting preparations up for the next stage of management work. I think that crops up later on the agenda. Management plan crops up later in the agenda. Still light use by members of the public. More and more people are finding out about the place, is my impression, and I've certainly seen small people out there. There's not small numbers of people out there. Occasionally bump into Environment Agency people. The issue of the person entering the reserve from the marina to walk his dog, we thought it had been resolved until both the aforementioned D-Govern and also myself, we both seen this guy within the last week or 10 days walking on the riverbank. In both cases, beating a retreat. I've got the impression once he saw me, he started moving very fast back towards the marine. And it's annoying, because not so much in itself, but if one person is allowed to flaunt the rules of the PSPO, then the word will go round sooner than possibly.
Yes, Councillor Watkins.
Could I ask Ken, what do you think was facilitated the increase in business numbers?
Sorry.
What do you think is facilitated the increase in visitor numbers?
Word of mouth, I think.
Right.
Because although I think at the last meeting we talked about increasing the publicity about the place, and it's just, that hasn't happened yet. But I think it is working now. The place is listed on Google Earth, as I put it on. And the last time I looked, it said something like 50,000 people had seen it. But that means nothing. I mean, that's 50,000 across the world. Yes, I mean, it's mostly by word of mouth, I think, and people saying, oh, do you know this place exists?
Are you able to quantify it by any chance?
No, it's purely anecdotal, really. My impression is that I see more people. And Dee, when she sends her reports, and she also, to me, she always says, well, I met so-and-so, and I met so-and-so, and whatever.
And I was just going to add that this summer, Lindsay on the front desk is actually promoting to visitors as well. So we did tell them about Girls and Silks and Mines School. So that might
Yeah,
happen.
that might be encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any leaflets or handouts or
No.
anything that?
There's not been a month's more leaflet these last 10, 14, 15 years.
Is there some way we can sort something out? Because that would be very handy and is something that I would think would be quite essential for people to get to know about.
Something to do.
Yeah.
Is the original leaflet from that period you just mentioned,
It's no longer
copied or amended?
Yeah, it's one of these trifold things. The map on it is woefully out of date. It doesn't even reflect the new bit of the reserve along the month way. So, it certainly doesn't reflect the new scrape. And it's also not a glossy leaflet, it's the old, it looks as if it's been printed off a home computer.
Yeah.
So the whole, I think it's a case of going back, starting from scratch.
Partially funded by Pfizer.
I think it was, yeah.
And how would we get another leaflet on the go then? Because I think it's important to get them out ASAP, really. I know winter's coming up, but nevertheless.
Find out who printed the last edition and see if they've got the.
Yeah. If any members have capacity to draft something, or two or three of you draft something, and obviously then we can liaise with Ken. I'm happy that we can get it printed, that's not a problem, but I just don't have capacity in my room to actually draft something.
We might have a copy.
I mean,
but I'm not sure about
I mean, I can draft something, it's not that difficult. I've probably got the information that can go in there.
If you're happy.
So I'll do that.
And photographs? Photos?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's what
Got
that is.
those.
Yeah, I had two questions really. I mean, one was, is there a corresponding leaflet against the salt,
Yes.
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 which might be used as a sort of model?
Yeah.
The other thing is with schools, I saw you mentioned it, but I don't think it's happened much.
No.
But in terms of the leaflet, if we can ask you to just draft a draft that can be circulated to the committee, so that we can we can comment, and I think if we can just accept that constructive criticism should be encouraged. We shouldn't be shy about sort of saying, we're not happy with that, but try this. So, can we just, do we need to vote on that drafting? We'll just
Send a report.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, should we make for agenda item what matters arising? We did discuss at New Hyde, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it's not on here, is it?
But it is.
A bit later on.
Yeah, a bit later on.
Oh.
Yeah, it's further down. We've got there.
Oh, that's all right.
Councillor Pennington?
Are we in a position to take the decision on the repair of the sluice? Do we need to do that? Because that's precedent.
So I'm happy to take that away with the property manager. If it's urgent repair, I didn't have delegated authority, but of course I don't know what the expenditure is. But if it is something, if the Finance and General Purposes Committee will be coming up in a couple of weeks, I can take it to the committee for recommendation. So, but I'm happy to take that away as an action speak to the property manager. We need to get a contract, obviously, who knows with Ken, in the first instance to find out how much we're talking about, because I don't have a.
It used to go straight to the full town council, it always used to.
Sorry?
It always used to go straight to the full town council.
Yeah, it can do it, because
Otherwise
the
it's-
agenda's
it's
coming
like-
out Monday,
Yeah.
sorry, the agenda's coming out tonight, so I've got time to do a report on Monday.
No.
But the next meeting will be the end of October,
Yeah.
so, but that's what I was thinking, if we know by.
Try and save you time on your financial bit, so it just goes.
But if we find out the cost between now and the finance during purposes, it can certainly go to the committee for their recommendation, and then obviously it'll be, depending what the expenditure is. If it's within October,
You're talking about getting 3 quotes.
yeah, so yeah, let me speak to the property manager, we'll contact you, and then we'll start the process. Because that's what we need to find out first, ascertain what the problem is, and how much it's going to cost.
I'll send you the information about the original supplier of the
Thank you.
source.
It would be sensible surely to get the 3 quotes now, that we have some sort of idea about what we're talking about.
Yes. Councillor Moore.
As our proposal, we accept the report, including the recommendations to town clerk, because they're really still in terms of finance, and with the obtaining 3 quotes for the work.
We'll just check with Ken that he's finished his report. Is there anything more to, before we actually vote on the report?
No, nothing of great urgency.
Yeah.
The rest.
If you're proposing that, can you have a second? Thank you, Councillor Pennington. We can just vote on that. Yeah, okay. Right, proposed works. This is number 8. Proposed works biodiversity improvement update. Town clerk to share a report on the quotations obtained that involve a planning consultant for a full planning application that will be required for the engineering operation, that's in brackets the scrape, a contractor to undertake the works for the engineering operation and a supplier for a new bird hive for the Monkswell Nature Reserve. Members are asked to agree a recommendation to council and choose a planning consultant to prepare the planning application necessary for the proposed works, a contractor to undertake the necessary engineering operation, and a preferred supplier for a new bird hive for the Monkswell Nature Reserve. 3 decisions required. So over to you, Town Clerk.
Thank you very much, Chair. So as you'll see, we haven't got the 3rd quote yet for the contractor, so that one is awaited, but it is expected soon. We've got 3 quotes for the architect planning consultant. As you'll see, they're listed there: Bloomfields, Hume Planning Consultants, and Themes. They are quoting prices, and there is report costs on top of those costs. As you'll see, the comments next to Bloomfields, company based in Hyde and have experience in agricultural and forestry planning. Hume Planning Consultants, very close to the site, which will be good for meetings. Discounted rate has been offered, and we are seeking a guide price for that, because obviously they're just quoting the hourly rate. Obviously, the fees, you know, are local, third-party consultants, and they have stated that reports will be an additional cost. So those are the planning consultants. And then the bird hives, we have got 3 quotes for those. Gilliard's was £18,073 plus VAT. This does include delivery and installation, and they are one of the country's best-known providers. Taylor's Garden Buildings, obviously, is a lot of a reduced price, and obviously that's reflecting the quality of the product as well. And the Shed Factory, their quote is £4,702 for the membrane and the lock, and that's a 3.6 metre by 2 metre, or 7.2 metre by 2 metre, £9,114 plus £508.66 for the membrane and the lock of £90. In fact, that's a family business, and they come across in a professional manner, and we have suggested a visit to their premises if they're selected, and I'll be working with the property manager on this. So the recommendations are for the committee to receive the report, agree a recommendation to council, so planning consultant is engaged by STC to undertake the full planning application necessary for the proposed engineering operation, and a birds hive supplier is determined from the 3 quotations provided. The recommendations are then to be progressed to council for agreement of the expenditure at Monkswell Nature Reserve. Thank you.
I think those little sheds, didn't I?
Sorry?
I did go to Equal Sheds.
You did, but they just sort of gave us the magazine, and when I talked to Ken and the property manager, it was felt that these three, because they didn't really give us a quote, they just gave us the magazine and said, those are the ones that you can choose from, so.
Yeah, I arranged a site meeting with someone from Eagle Sheds back in July, and we met, and I gave them all the information and details, and they hadn't got back.
No, that
was the sound. I know that you.
Well, it's probably use other businesses, that's all.
Councillor Ripley?
I'd like to see what Ken thinks about these, because he's in the best position,
Yes.
I need to determine what's most suitable and what. Okay.
Well, if we're talking about the bird hides, as Town Clerk said, Gilliards are a national company. They supply people like the National Trust and like the RSPB, County Wildlife Trust. I've worked with them before at Sandwich Bay. They built a purpose-built bird hide for us a couple of years ago. Taylor's Garden Buildings are, as the note says there, they basically build garden sheds for life. Well, you see the price. The shed factory, I think it's a company that the property manager approached recently in Sevenoaks. And looking at, he did send me some of the details about the company and whatever. And you know, they are feasible. They're certainly, I mean, you can see from the price, they would do it cheaper than Gilliards, but they're not a specialist builder of bird hides. I think it's the shed factory who've got this neat system of making foundations out of screws, big screws that drive down in the ground as foundations, like pilings, you know. Which no, I'm not sure whether that's included in this pricing.
Yes, so, Councillor Pemberton?
Yes, I thought one of the issues here was the sort of whether we should have a view on the size of the hide, because some of them seem a wee bit small.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of 3.6 metres by 2. I don't know how many people would get in there. But
You can get that measurement is the size of the hide that is already on the reserve, is that one. And you can get about 6 people lined up along there. But all of the companies, certainly Gilliards and the Shed Factory, amongst others we approached, were also asked to quote them twice that size.
okay.
Which is where you've got quotes here for 7.2, well, 5.4, and then the Shed Factory have got 7.2 metres. So, and the point behind that was to allow for greater numbers of visitors in the future.
Yeah.
Is the Shed Factory including installation?
Yes, I believe it does.
Councillor Morehouse?
Can I propose Gilliards for 5.4 by 2.5 metre? They're specialists.
Yeah, they're not probably twice the price, aren't
They're the specialists.
Well, I think so. Well, if you're.
Fine. Ken, do you have a preference?
Well,
Considering
I mean, of the 3 that we've got in front of us, the Gilliards are clearly the most expensive. There was another company which I think I approached called the Deck, or the Deck Company or something.
Yes.
And their lowest price was well above Gilliards, but they built their hides out of sweet chestnut and oak.
Oh.
So they're really top of the range.
Yes.
So if you were to include that one in the range of quote, Gilliards is more expensive than the other 2.
Just to clarify, we're looking for a decision in this meeting now. Is that the case?
Yes, to make the recommendation to council. So, sorry, councillor Morehouse, was that the 5.4 budget? Yeah, thank you. That's the proposal.
Right, so we're looking at the 5.4 by 2.5 at 18,000 plus. That's really get that down without. Does any, if we went for the 18, for the Gilead one, do we have any, has anybody got any feelings towards, I would imagine, the shed factory?
That's what I want to make.
Yeah.
I know it's a little bit high key, I think it's down the scrape, isn't it, down the Bay of State, but for where this is going to be situated, it won't be that visited, hopefully it'll get visited. But I mean, think we've always done the work being done, we've got the sluice, we've got the scrape being done. I thought that the scrape's got was it 50,000, 60,000 pounds? So look, we've got to start looking at our pennies, really.
Yeah.
I know it seems a lot at the moment, but we took on.
Yes, it's Councillor Whitfield.
Can I just ask, you nearly said that, was it the shed factory put the big screws in
Yeah.
With the land there, is that suitable for
Yes.
that? It is.
They say that it's suitable for all land types.
Have we looked at the structure? Because we're looking at prices here.
Yeah.
We can guess about the Taylor's Garden buildings. But in terms of the actual structure, are we looking at sort of like for like? Similar? All we can see is
each of the companies was sent an outline spec which I came up with,
and this is given us.
and they were asked to quote against that spec. But clearly, Taylor's Garden buildings, I suspect, aren't. They are just basically quoting for a garden shed with a bench that they're going to add to it and some differently shaped windows, because obviously a bird hide has slot windows with a lift up,
So
wooden lid.
if I was to say that it's a competition, it's not a competition, but decision between Gilead's and the shed factory, and we can discount Taylor's. So in terms of voting, can we
Yes, so Councillor Moore has a proposal on the table, so
Yes.
if you finish this vote, you should ask someone to second that.
Yes. Yeah, okay then. Do we have any?
Sorry, Chair.
Before we go further forward,
I've only got one copy of this, but if members might quickly like to business round, we'll give you an idea of
yes, I'm conscious that it's good basing this on price, not necessarily.
perhaps I've got 2 copies. It makes it look as if I'm pushing Gilead, but I'm not a voting member of this committee, so
Do we have
entirely,
anything from the shed factory in terms of documentation?
No, I think it was just a presentation,
Right.
I haven't really pictures.
I'm just conscious of the cost, and the amount of work and having into that scrape, and if she, doing a new scrape, getting the machinery on, the cost is going to be enormous.
Yeah.
I know it seems like we've got a lot of money at the moment, but we haven't really done it.
the 2 quotes we've had in so far for the scrape, one was 19,000. Piltshire came in at 38,000, but the 19,000 was Rhino.
Yeah,
And the company, I'm meeting the company tomorrow, that figure did the work last year. And last year they had to cut Rhinos.
Yeah, got that one. Yeah. So move back to Kate.
I think we're on to Councillor Morehouse's proposal. If you can repeat your proposals.
My proposal is that we go with Gilead's with the 5.4 by 2.5 metre.
Right, can we have a vote on that?
Second.
Oh, can we have a second? My apologies. A second for that? No, we don't have a second for that.
That one goes.
In
I
that,
propose that you shed factory.
yeah, can we have a second on the shed factory?
Yeah.
So Councillor Pennington, did you propose that, did you? So the shed factory.
Yeah.
The larger one.
Yeah.
So we've got a proposal from Councillor Pennington for the shed factory, that's the 7.2 metres by 2 metres at 9,114 plus, presumably including for the membrane and lock at £90. So that will be just on 9,000.
Well, the membrane is £508.66 and the lock is £90.
Yes.
And plus. So we're looking at 9,600 roughly, 700.
Plus the screw foundations if councillors decide to go for that. I'm sorry, I haven't got the information there about.
Okay, so that could add further to that, but equally, Gilead's includes delivering installation, but we've had that vote already on Gilead's. Can I have your proposal, the shed factory, it's Councillor Pennington.
Subject to clarification of the points you mentioned.
Yes, so
Clarification of the quote includes any groundworks necessary and delivery installation.
right, so the subject to groundworks, subject to a matching quote, because Gilead's clearly is a quote for everything. The shed factory, we're not sure quite what that includes.
Okay, yeah, I can take that one.
I think we need to
How can you
clarify
have
that.
and vote on something?
Yes,
I don't know the full details.
No,
That's fine.
Just-
This will go, yeah, this will go as a full report to council once we get that right. It's just really a recommendation, and if you wanted, to have caveats, that recommendation,
I think we
absolutely
need
fine.
caveats.
If you want to defer it, that's absolutely fine. as well.
Defer it, I think, get more information. The Gilead, would that be on a concrete base?
Sorry,
The Gilead, would that be on a concrete base?
no, they use recycled plastic uprights. The things
But
that
it's-
last forever.
Yes. Councillor Pennington, are you happy to go forward with a proposal at the moment, or would you like to amend that to potentially putting the decision off until we know a little bit more about shed factory? It's your decision, I think. Whether you want to propose that.
What to include the caveat that.
I think the caveat that,
Yeah, I think we need to move it forward a bit.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think, focusing on that, as Ken says, it would need to be followed up. Various aspects.
Yeah.
But on the information we've got in front of us,
Yeah. Yes, because there's a lot missing, but
would you be in favour of it?
I would prefer to defer it personally. But I'm just chair of the meeting, not the boss. So I would propose, personally, I would propose to defer it, but you put a proposal that whether you want to follow that through.
Well, I think it's best to defer it because it won't go into next year anyway, would it? If we have big buffer nesting season, then next year, before the hide could go in, it won't be going, within the next for about 6 or 7 months, because the answer but wet, isn't it?
Well, I mean, this work can't happen now until this time next year.
Yes, right there.
Yes,
Get more details.
Would you be happy with the deferral instead?
Yeah.
Yes.
Complete price.
So if you want to withdraw your proposal, I'll propose that we defer. But I would.
Well,
You've got a
I don't think
proposal.
I've been seconded yet, so
Yeah,
I
I'll
can just
second
withdraw. Oh, you did?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Do we want to vote on that then? So we've got a proposer and we've got a seconder going forward with the shed factory.
If there seems to be a clear feeling that we will defer. So I'm prepared to withdraw my.
Thank you, accept that. In that case,
So it's a straightforward deferral,
straightforward.
with no preference.
Well, can I suggest that it's deferred, but excluding tailors,
Yes.
so that we have just two to consider?
And subject to clarification on the points that I mentioned of the quote from Shed Warehouse.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
So I think the proposal is, we consider between Gillies and the shed factory, with the shed factory to provide a matching quote, essentially, including installation and how it's to be installed. It's not like so I propose, unless you would prefer to propose that, otherwise I'll put that in my proposal.
My proposal, I'll be second.
Yeah, second. We've got a second, Councillor Morehouse, and if we can vote. I'm sorry for the, unless we unanimous, yeah, sorry for going around a bit, but that's quite a lot of money to get wrong.
Okay.
We were also looking at
Planning consultant.
the planning consultant, which is a decision between Bloomfields, Hume Planning Consultants and Finns. The comments you made, we're looking at a company based in Hyde, which is Bloomfields, at a flat rate of complete £6,500 plus VAT. Hume Planning Consultants, which is £90 per hour. Your comments are very close to the site, good for meetings, and you're saying a discounted rate has been offered. And Finns, £165 per hour, and they're estimating £3,000 to £4,000 plus other costs. Third-party consultants and reports are extra. So do we have any thoughts on this before we vote? Ken?
Only just to say that the Hume people are based at Discovery Park. I think that's what is meant by very close to the site. Finns, obviously, or one person at Finns in particular, Mark Chandler, knows the place very well, but there's no guarantee that he would be involved in drawing up that.
I know Mark as well.
Chances are he wouldn't be.
Very capable.
Bloomfields, agriculture and forestry planning.
It's
This is very expensive.
Yes. I mean, it's a pity you can't give us an estimate of how much they could put into it, or how much they think he's putting into it. But when I did the sums, I mean, you can work out from the Finns quote how many hours they think are likely to be needed. And Hughes will come out very well.
And Councillor Morehouse?
Could I again recommend the thorough, even more detailed than
Can you put that as a proposal?
Yes.
Seconded. Then the proposal is.
Doesn't mean there's no great urgency for this.
Sorry,
There's no great urgency with this, is there?
well, again, the whole thing is been postponed now for till next, the earliest the work can take. But nothing can happen until, firstly, planning permission is granted, because then we've got to go to the Environment Agency, because they've said they are unlikely to consider any application about doing stuff on the floodplain until planning permission has been obtained. And I've got a nasty feeling the planners are going to say, we can't give you permission until you've got permission from the Environment Agency, so it'll be a case of going round in circles. But sorry, there's Councillor Franklin. I mean, obviously, the sooner the planning thing process is started about it.
I was going to say, do you think we should defer this until we've got the planning permissions and the environment, with all the permissions? We ought to appoint in a contract, haven't we haven't got any permissions?
We haven't got quite some contractors yet anyway.
No,
so
but I think we should apply for the permission to do the work.
yeah, that's the first step.
And then do the Dover District Planning Commission first, I think, and then the Environment Agency Commission. Because if they say no, that's it, we'll have to try and discuss it.
Councillor Pennington.
Yeah, did we decide last time that someone should be engaged to prepare the planning application? Or is that?
So yes, that was what was decided, that because there wasn't capacity for Ken to do the work,
Yeah.
and certainly none of the officers here have got capacity, and because the funds are available, that a planning consultant would be engaged. So that's why we went away and we've got 3 quotes for you to consider this evening.
Oh, that's what this is about.
Yeah, that's what this is about. Yeah.
So just to clarify, the planning consultant will be the one that presents the plan to the
Yes.
planners
Yes.
at DEC.
Yes,
So we have to have the plans or the plans and proposals in a form that DEC can work with before they can give the planning permission. So we do have to make a decision ahead of the.
I would recommend things that we've been dealing with all the time, haven't we?
so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, could you have?
Hold on, yes, Councillor Morehouse has proposed deferring
Yeah,
it.
deferral, based on the requirement to have more information.
Right, and can we have a second there?
Councillor, if you really want to say
Can we
that.
vote on, so the vote will be on deferring Hume to come back with a
More detail.
more details.
I would
A total
potential.
potential, so can we vote on that, please? I'm very much.
Are you against?
Yeah.
Against, two against.
Um,
You're against?
Yes.
Okay, so that's, I'll vote that one, yeah.
So sorry, I've lost the plot now. So what's
So-
the change?
We voted against deferring
Yeah.
pending Hume coming up with more information. And now,
Yeah, I was going
you
to
had
go
a,
with things, those things.
so you're proposing that we go with things.
Yeah,
So can we have a vote?
we know this.
So that's,
Second.
is it, oh,
You
you
got a
second?
second? Sorry,
Yeah.
second.
So that's 3 for, 2 against,
Yeah.
so that's carried then.
Can I
Yes.
just go and ask on what basis you use things?
Because we've been using things ever since we started reserve. They know the land. We never heard of you before.
Um,
And we've also, we've also used things for other land sales. So they are known locally. And we've also used things, but not actually monthly. I'm not going to say his name because some of the councillors don't know me to say the name, but they do have other experts that deal with this sort of problem, with the planning. So,
Yeah. If I can say, the reason I voted also for things is they gave an estimate of the total, which I thought that, yeah, normally if you're human given a open-ended,
Yeah, so
It's not given-
they said plus other reports that will be required and the price against that. So again, we don't know what we're,
right, we have voted on that.
Yes.
So, number 9, a review of the Nature Reserve Management Plan. The Monkswell Nature Reserve Warden has advised the current Nature Reserve Management Plan now needs updating as it was created in 2017 and was intended for a 5-year period. Members agreed at the last meeting that a review is recommended to be commenced and the Warden to provide an estimate of the cost of the work. Recommendations to Council for any expenditure that is required to update the Nature Reserve Management Plan. The decision is required. So, over to you, Ken, I think, or is it
Yes,
yourself?
thank you, Chair. Thank you. So the purpose of the report is to obviously update you on the proposal from the last meeting. So following the committee meeting in June, I approached Mark Chandler and confirmed he was happy for the NRMP, sorry to use the abbreviation, to be reviewed and did not require consultation because obviously clearly it was his original piece of work which he worked on with him. The Warden was approached and asked to outline proposals so that the review of the Reserve Management Plan can be progressed once the Council have agreed the expenditure. And Ken has kindly provided the following details. So he's outlined the proposals for updating the Reserve Management Plan. As you know, the current version dates from 2018 and it is for a 5-year period, so it is overdue for revision and updating. The plan is built on data published in previous plans, including a particularly detailed 2013 version. Both plans were drawn up on a professional basis by colleagues from Kings of Sandwich, which was Julian Sampson and Mark Chandler, with specific contributions from the Warden on issues to do with biodiversity conservation. Any proposed new plan needs to be based on the following general principles: good science and data, good conservation management practices, constructive working relationship with other agencies which have a legitimate interest in the site, especially the Environment Agency and the Rural Payments Agency, working to realistic frameworks in terms of time, tasks undertaken and budgetary requirements. Having made those points, Ken believes that the actual management plan should be a working document which is accessible and readily understood by all those with an interest in the site. That includes town councillors, council officers, external bodies such as the Environment Agency and other conservation organisations, as well as members of the public. He proposed therefore that the format for an updated reserve management plan should comprise of two parts: a general description of the reserve, the history, biodiversity interest, relationship to other protected sites and areas, overall management objectives, sources of funding, public involvement and amenity interest, access issues, health and safety issues and restrictions. Also, a chart to describe specific management tasks that need to be achieved over the next 5 years to meet the agreed objectives. The chart will include suggested timescales, responsibilities, provisional costings where relevant and success criteria. Needless to say, the content of any management plan which is drawn up to these specifications will be in draft form and be subject to ratification by the Town Council ultimately. And obviously this committee see the draft first. So the cost of that work, Ken has estimated is about £450 in total. The recommendation is to receive the report and agree to the recommendation to Council that the Warden's proposal to update the NRMP be approved at a cost of £450 from the reserve budget. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think that's a very simple proposal, which do we need? I think it's just a proposal and a second. Councillor Ripley and the second, Councillor Pennington. You've got a chance to second.
And all in unanimous.
I think we're all going to vote unanimous. Number 10, just a brief update. This is based on, this is where my computer went skew with, which is just done again. There is a planning application for the building of 122 houses at Discovery Park, which is supposed to have been discussed at the planning committee and has been postponed. We've deferred any support or otherwise at the moment, asking for more information. I think the concerns that Monkswell Nature Reserve Committee might consider, and I think this is just for information at the moment, to be noted, is that there will be 122 houses immediately next to Monkswell, separated by just a road, obviously a very fast road, with more houses coming, most likely. We're talking about something, I think, 500 houses. What was also raised at the committee, that's the planning committee, was the redesign, or redesign of the access road into the proposed development, which has a little red line. So if you go onto the planning application, it's on the computer, if you want to find it, the red line includes, I think, where the plants, there's some particular plants that are of great interest. That's it, there's an orchids. And it's very vague. While the plan shows in black and white how the road will be reshaped, the red line which indicates where the work will be includes apparently the area where the lizard orchids are. The plan doesn't seem to actually state how that will be protected. So I think it's just basically taking information from the planning committee into this committee, how concerned we should be. And Ken, you have
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to add, a couple of years ago, I approached the Kent Wildlife Trust and Kent Highways because I was aware that they had a system in the county of designating areas as roadside nature reserves, areas of roadsides that are of particular wildlife interest. And that roadside, the Monk's Way, and in particular the verges near the big roundabout at the top of the Monk's Way, where it leaves the Sandwich Bypass, is of national importance for this very rare, nationally rare orchid, lizard orchid. I was told this spring that the designation has been made, and it is now officially a roadside nature reserve, administered jointly by the Kent Wildlife Trust and Kent Highways. When the application was put in for the housing at Discovery Park, and in particular, they want to build a roadside access, a road access off the Monk's Way, almost opposite one of the entrances onto the Monk's Wall Reserve. In other words, they want to put a splayed entrance. It's the same that when they're building, I think, going in through the entrance up by the new garage and the takeaway food places. I've written, having seen the planning application, I've written in a personal capacity to Dover District Council and lodged my objection and pointed out that this new road entrance, at least, doesn't allow the fact that the place is now a roadside nature reserve, and there's no recognition in the original planning application that there are any rare plants there at all. Mostly because the ecological report was done in November. So clearly, as far as I'm aware, only 2 people have actually formally objected, myself and a guy called Steve, who knows the area very well, King Potters. The lizard orchid is protected under the Wildlife and Countryside Act 1981 as a specially designated species. Whether that will make any difference, I don't know. But
yeah, my experience generally with those who have little knowledge and maybe are building in that area won't be aware of the importance of the things that they're working on.
no.
I would suggest that they have little concern rather than little awareness, personally. I think profits can afford things like this. I think we need to make much more of this than we have done currently, because it seems like a bit of a disaster to me.
Or a potential disaster.
Yeah.
But when you look at the road though, it's a very new road, isn't it? Monk's Way, and it's amazing how those orchids have suddenly appeared.
Yeah.
So they must be quite hardy. I know they're very delicate and endangered, but it must be possible, because I mean these plans have all gone far. I know they're still tweaking a thing, and they're moving all the reptiles at the moment, all the little black fences all around. So you know all the lizards and everything are already being moved from the site. So I think we need a discussion with them. Perhaps they might have to mark. I'm not sure how rooted a lizard orchid is. Make sure they move them, you know what I mean? So we don't actually lose them.
It's almost impossible to relocate orchids. This was one of the issues of the Betsanger application. The developers there said, oh, well, we'll just relocate them. They are extremely fussy. Having said that, they are spreading along those roadside verges, but nonetheless, to have a huge new road entrance put in without any acknowledgement that there are these plants there, and there are some other orchid species there as well. There's a lizard that's nationally rare.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I mean, for me, there are specific points in relation to this application that are worrying, but there's the more general concern about the disruption to the environment for construction of such a large estate. We discussed in planning the various specific questions about access and so on. But I do think that this application needs a lot more work before it should be considered. Before it should be, before it should be considered, I think it's a lot more information.
It's been passed, hasn't it, isn't it? The road's been passed. Yeah. We've just got to limit it with any damage and as much as possible.
As I understood it, they submitted an original application for the road to go into where they're going to build the house. But this is some sort of resubmission that just happened within the last few months. And it's to do with a something to do with the redesign or whether it was updated.
If I understand it rightly, they outlined planning commission 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Which in theory is
I think at the moment it's a case of it's noted. I don't know that we can do it.
And so this is with the planning committee.
It is.
But I think if members note the discussion this evening, if you're minded to do your objection personally, then obviously that's an option as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Town Clerk. Right, number 11, date and time of next meeting, 2nd December. 2nd of December.
Shall we just apply
Meeting closed, yes.
Yeah.
the?